Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm going to turn it over to our clerk, Joanne, to do roll call.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Chair Innes. If members could unmute themselves when called, I can record their attendance for the roll call.
No, wait, Joanne, one sec. Do we have, okay, live, perfect. Okay,
Yep, we're live. I just did it.
awesome.
Ainsley has sent in his regrets. Ash,
Present.
Carol, Chapelwick,
Present.
Demerla,
Present.
Dies,
Present.
DePaolo, Drake, Fletcher, Fonseca, Han,
Present.
Heath sent in regrets. Hyatt,
Good morning.
Innes,
Present.
Jackson,
Present.
Kelleher has sent in her regrets. Layton,
Present.
Mukherjee,
Present.
Matlow has sent in his regrets. Paleshi,
President, good morning.
Pasternak, Pellegrini,
Present and greetings.
Peruzza, Rosati,
Present.
Santos,
Present.
Sinclair,
Present.
and Tang. Tang? Thank you.
And good morning, Madam Chair and Madam Clerk. It's Chris Fonseca. Just wanted to say I'm present.
Thank you. We respectfully acknowledge the lands we are situated on, our traditional territories and treaty lands, in particular those of the Mississaugas of Credit, as well as the Anishinaabe of the Williams Treaty First Nations, the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and are now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Toronto and Region Conservation Authority appreciates and respects the history and diversity of the land and is grateful to have the opportunity to work and meet in this territory. We'll move on to the agenda. Can I have a mover of the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting held on February the 25th? Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Ash. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, no delegations, presentations, or correspondence. Section 1, 7.1, request for tender for the Clairville Conservation Area water main replacement. 7.2, commemoration of trail and recognition of David Barrow. Followed by Councillor Jackson. 7.3, Humber Bay Park Revitalization, award of wetlands boardwalk contract. I have a mover, please, for 7.1 and 7.3, moved by Mr. St. Clair, seconded by Councillor Layton. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Section 3, 8.1, Morningside Legacy Project update. 8.2, service delivery report for Section 28 permit applications 2021. Can I have a mover, please, for 8.1 and 8.2? Moved by Dr. Chapelwick, seconded by Councillor Dies. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Materials from Executive Committee meeting 9.1, Section 1 items, 9.1.1, position of City of Toronto. 9.1.2, vendors of record supply and delivery of various aggregates. 9.1.3, supply and delivery of various Armastone to Ashbridges Bay Treatment Plant landform project. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Leshy, seconded by Councillor Demurla for 9.1.1, 9.1.2, and 9.1.3. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. 9.2.1, fourth quarter 2021 communications and event summary. Moved by Councillor Fonseca, seconded by Mayor Pellegrini. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carries. 9.4, which is 9.4.1, pregnancy and parental leave supplemental top-up benefits. 9.4.2, food services agreement update. Moved by Councillor Santos and seconded by Councillor Fonseca. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carried. Are there any items for new business? Seeing none, we'll go back to 7.2.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councillor Rosati?
yeah, I do have a few questions under new business.
Okay.
I just would like to have an update because I haven't heard anything, or maybe I missed it. With what's happening with the reopening and working from home, and are people still working from home, or is there an hybrid version of what we're doing? I just would like a quick verbal update
Sure.
from management.
We will go to that at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So 7.2, commemoration of trail and recognition of David Barrow. This item was held by Councillor Jackson. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. First off, I want to thank staff for their work on this. Just a couple of questions, and I did bring it up. I wasn't sure if it was executive or regular. I know, I believe that you've reached out to the family, and they would like it called David Barrow. I just want to confirm this.
Don?
Yeah, through the chair, thank you. And he was fine with it at the time when I spoke to him and his wife about this specifically. They were fine with it as is, but I can confirm that. But he was.
No, that's fine, John. If you spoke to to Tommy Ann and to David, that's fine.
Yes, I did. I spoke to Tommy Ann. I spoke to David about it, and they were fine with it. I think they don't want a huge ceremony or anything like that because you know how David's fairly modest person and everything like that. But he was happy, and
I also
he was happy as well. Yeah.
Coming tonight, can you contact
Somebody needs
Sorry,
to-
can I just ask people to please turn their mics off?
coordinating guy?
Yeah, well, I'll
Councillor
do that.
Rosati, Councillor Rosati, your mic
Do you
is on.
contact
Yeah,
the
yeah. Let me call you back. Sorry.
Can you please mute yourself?
So can
Yeah,
I,
sorry.
so while we have the interruption from Rosati there, just to let people know, Perutz, am I on? Can folks
Yes,
hear me?
you're on. You're on,
Oh,
Councillor.
perfect, okay. That's
Sorry,
Gino,
Councillor
thank you for the opportunity, okay?
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, through you to John. Okay, that's fine if you spoke to him. But would it be to recognize, if you look at future generations, people could be wandering along and not know who David Barrow is. Would it be inappropriate that if we were to add the words mayor in front of David Barrow Trail?
I'm sure that would be fine. I can take that back, and obviously I would want to speak to the family through the chair. If that's okay, I can take that back, and we can discuss that. And if that makes sense, be pleased to do that.
Okay. Maybe, Madam Chair, so it doesn't have to come back and forth. Maybe I'd like to. Just to move an amendment that so that it doesn't have to come back, that if the family agrees to adding the word mayor in front of David Barrow Trail, that it gets approved in principle. I just don't want this to come back and forth and back and forth. I mean, I think that'd be nice. But Madam Chair, John, would that be fine with you?
Yeah. Yes, through the chair, that would be fine with us and our staff. We can make that happen, and I'm in your hands.
Yeah, that's, Madam Chair, I'd like to add that minor amendment to it, which is, but I also, Madam Chair, just for, I'd like a recorded vote, Madam Chair, so that former Mayor Barrow knows that it was a unanimous decision. And also, I think it's nice to go down in the books that it goes in as a recorded vote.
Madam Chair, could we just discuss that amendment for 1 second? It's Councillor Carroll.
Yeah, so just one moment. I'm going to ask the clerk if there's an amendment on the board. Can the clerk please put it up for everyone to see it? And then I do have a list of speakers.
Sorry, through the chair, can you confirm what is it that you're looking for on the board? Do you need showing something on the screen or if it's on the floor?
Councillor Jackson, what did you want the amendment to say?
You know, Madam Chair, I'll just withdraw it. I guess it's getting too confusing. If I'll just leave it as is. I'll leave the motion, and I'd be happy to move this. And I would assume that Mayor Pellegrini from Kingwood would second it. But I am looking before a recorded vote. I'll leave it the way it is.
Okay, thank you. I have Councillor Layton first.
I would just in following up to Councillor Jackson's point, I get the intent and I totally appreciate it, and I likely would have voted for it, except for one request I would have made, and that's oftentimes honorific titles are passed. There's like the whole president thing. You're called a president for the rest of your life. That doesn't exist in Canada, and I can't think of a single naming that includes mayor or councillor. And when we went through the naming of the ferry terminal for my old man, it really didn't come up because it was what title would you use? And then it's also from a family perspective, at its face, it's a lovely gesture to make sure people know. But then the recognition is of the individual in that position rather than the other roles the individual may have played over the course of their lifetime: father, husband, son, counselor, maybe. I'm not sure. Chair of this committee or that. So I get the intent. There may be a protocol piece that would have need to be solved. But it is a lovely gesture what we're doing here, and I will be supportive of it.
Thank you. Councillor Demerla.
Thank you. I don't have any issues with this particular naming, but I did want to ask staff that at the City of Mississauga, we have sort of revisited the whole idea of naming people, naming things after people, given that a number of names today are controversial and were not controversial at the time that I guess they were honored with the naming of places. I just wanted to know if the TRCA is also going to look at doing some kind of a review. We've actually at the City of Mississauga put on hold a whole bunch of names that have been on the list. And I think there's a provisional list of 30 names right now, or I can't remember exactly, that can be used in the interim while we sort of relook at, and I think, there's almost a school of thought that minimize naming things after people. I'm not saying you have to do that here or in this particular case, but I think there's the larger question of how we name parks, streets, all those things, and I wanted to ask staff if there's any thought to giving a second look.
So I think I can get John to answer, but in regards to giving a second look, this is we've already talked about this previously.
Yes, I'm going to be supportive. Yes, I'm not. That's why I said this is not.
But John, did you want to talk about, because I know we were doing a bunch of review in the existing names of many of our parks and conservation areas and trails. John, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so specifically related to David Barrow, sorry, my WebEx cut out for like a second here, but I just wanted to, in terms of the area around Bethesda Road and the David Barrow commemoration, I just wanted to clarify, are we talking about that area in Swan Lake?
So John, Councillor Demerla is referencing whether or not we are going to or have been undergoing a naming policy review.
With your indulgence, I do want to clarify that I will be supporting the naming today. So it's really not about this particular incident. It's a larger question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There has and there is there is a recognition, there is a policy committee that's looking at our policies related to recognition. And in addition, there was a board request related to commemoration and Indigenous placemaking that we're looking at in the context of a request where we have Clareberg Conservation Area and there was India. There's a request from the board to look at that and whether or not there's opportunities for more placemaking and naming recognition. And so there is ongoing work like that that's underway. There is a large report coming forward at the City of Toronto next week, a reconciliation report, that city manager's report that's going forward that we've been working with the city on to make sure that we are in lockstep with the City of Toronto's approach on that, and we're building all of that into our report back that's going to be coming to this board shortly thereafter. So there is a part of that on commemoration and naming that will be included as part of.
Thank you. I look forward to that report.
Thank you, Councillor Jamarla. Councillor Carroll, did you have a question?
Well, it wasn't a question. I just wanted to discuss. I actually thought Councillor Jackson was holding it to say, why is it David? Could it be Dave? So that people would really know who you're talking about. But with respect to putting the title, we've gone through this with a number of namings, and I'll give examples. Don Cousins Parkway, any number. There are dozens across the country of Lester B. Pearson schools. And similar to what Councillor Layton says, that the tradition of not putting the political title in front of the name is because what you want to say is this was a great person, not here's the office they held. This was a great man, and so it's very traditional in Canada not to put the political title in front of the name. And so I wonder if we want to depart from that now, because that's the sentiment behind the Canadian tradition of not putting the political title.
Thank you. Councillor Giles?
Thank you. And I agree with that also. And I just wanted to share our experience here in Ajax with our waterfront trail, which we named after a previous mayor many years ago who actually had foresight to buy the land. However, what we did was put up a sign with his photo, with his name, and a little bit of a history as to why the trail was named after him. And I thought that was very helpful for generations who don't know the name, and they do stop and read that. It's been very successful. That was it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Perruzza, and then I have Rosati. Anthony, you're muted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. And just for reference,
okay.
Just for reference, Councillor Jackson did withdraw adding the mayor in front of it. So that's no longer on the table and we don't need to talk about it anymore. But if there's anything else in regards to the report, that would be great.
Well, I did have a few words to share, but I'll shorten them because that was very much part of the words that I wanted. So there are some titles that are given to you and kind of stay with you for life here. Honorable, Right Honorable, Privy Councillor, Queen's Counsel, those kinds of things. The problem with the mayoralty one is, for example, if Nathan Phillips Square here were named after Mayor Nathan Phillips, in my view, in my mind, it causes confusion about who the mayor is. It would cause that confusion for many, many people. Is it Mayor Nathan Phillips or is it Mayor John Tory, who's the active mayor? Mel Lastman Square. It's not named after Mayor Mel Lastman. It's not named Mayor Mel Lastman Square. It's Mel Lastman Square. Right? Again, for the same kind of thing. And I think David and his family should be asked the name that he would like to have put on there, because I remember, for example, I was at Queen's Park, and as a member of the legislature, and they chisel your name in this marble slate at Queen's Park once you're a member of the legislature, and they chiseled my name, and I guess maybe they asked me what the name that I wanted on this slate, but I didn't pay attention to it, and and they went on and chiseled Anthony Peruzza, right? Because that was my name, and when I was in the legislature. But later, when I saw it, I thought to myself, man, oh man, that's not the name my mama gave me, right? It's Antonio B. Peruzza, and I want to change it. And then eventually they changed it. They re-chiseled a new marble piece, and they corrected or added my name the way I wanted to see it there. So I would agree with all those things, and I'm going to support this. And to the other point about now today we're going back and renaming a lot of streets and so on. I get that. One day, if they discover that Dave Barrow shouldn't have this honor, like 100 years from now, shouldn't have the honor of his name on in the way we're intending to honor him. Let them deal with it then. But what we know of Dave today, and what I know of Dave today, I have no problem supporting this recognition, both for him as a man and as a former member of the authority, and for his family. So I think we should proceed on that basis, because we live in the moment, and we should also do things in the moment as well. I hope my words didn't delay the meeting today, but I did want to share them with you, okay?
Thank you, Councillor Peruzza. Councillor Rosati.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairperson. I think Joanne said what I wanted to say, that I agree that the title shouldn't be on the name, but there has to be some kind of description on the bottom, maybe in smaller character, who this person was, such as a mayor of Richmond Hill from to such and such a date, or a TRC member since and when it ended, so that people know. Because quite often, sometimes, even if I go in the city of Toronto and I see a name on a hospital, and I don't know who that person was. And the future generation will know even less about a lot of names that we put on sculptures or monuments or in the parks or whatever. So I think that it should be a policy that tells you who this person was in very short paragraph. And I see that when I go in other parts of the world. Whenever I see a dedication to a name, there is always a small capture on the bottom who that person was, or is, for that matter. So I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I think that that should be the case. In this case, it should be a matter of policy, not a decision on a motion.
Thank you, Councillor Rosati. So we are beginning to provide information through QR codes on the Meadoway and other projects that we're starting to implement. We don't want to put up a lot of signs, because then we get sign clutter, and we want to keep our spaces green and as open as possible. So I'm going to maybe leave it with staff to look at, could we potentially do a QR in this area so that people can just quickly with their phone. I mean, in all honesty, I could just put in his name or say it through Surrey and get all the information within seconds. But I think it's nice when we add the QR codes, because we can add why David is important to us, and why he was important to the TRCA, and why the TRCA is honoring him in this way. So if staff can take that back as part of this project, I think that's a good gesture and a good idea. And we've already started it along the Meadoway, so we'll continue to do that throughout our site. Was there any other comments or questions? Did I miss anybody? Councillor Jackson, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to reiterate and I thank all members for their comments. I brought this to Executive Committee several months ago to honor David Barrow, the former mayor. I call him Dave, but I wasn't unsure what he and his family would like on this trail. So I know there's been a little bit of discussion. The family has requested David, and that's what the motion is today. So, Madam Chair, I thank everyone for it, and I'd like a motion to call the vote on recorded vote, please.
Thank you. So moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Mayor Pellegrini. I'll turn it over to Ms. Hyde for the vote.
Sure, thank you. Through the chair, recorded vote was requested by Member Jackson. There are a number of people who have returned, so I will go through the list once again. Ash?
Councillor Ainsley has joined us, and he is alphabetically before me.
Oh, perfect. Sorry about that. Ainsley?
Thank you, Councillor Ash. Much appreciated. I would like my vote recorded in favor.
Ash?
Yes.
Carol?
In favor?
Chapelwick?
Yes.
Merla?
In favor.
Dies?
In favor?
DePaula? Still not present. Drake? Drake? I believe she
said yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fletcher? Absent. Fonseca?
In favor.
Han?
In favor.
Keith is still absent. Hyatt?
Yes, in favor.
Jackson?
Favor.
Kelleher is absent. Layton?
In favor.
Mukherjee?
In favor.
Matlow is absent. Paleshi?
Favor.
Pasternak? Absent. Pellegrini?
In favor?
Bruzza?
In favor.
Rosati?
In favor?
Santos?
In favor.
Sinclair?
In favor.
And Tang. Thank you.
Thank you. So the record shows that that was unanimous. I did miss, my apologies, 9.3 Section 4 Ontario Regulations 16606 as amended. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Ainsley and seconded by Dr. Drake. All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. And then under new business, Councillor Rosati had brought up the question in regard to the practices moving forward coming out of the pandemic in regard to whether or not we will be moving to a hybrid model and staffing. So I'll turn it over to you, John, and maybe Natalie.
Thank you through the chair. And yes, we can chime in a bit on that. So already, and I think it's really important to note, TRCA's field staff and our operations crews have been working through the pandemic nonstop. There's construction underway as we speak at multiple sites across the GTA, and none of that ever stopped for hundreds of employees. So that's been the case in our outdoor field centers and work and operations. Yes, there's been changes in the type of work and enhanced safety, but I just want to make sure that people know that people just kept at it out in the field, and that's why we've actually accelerated construction. And I don't want to jinx anything, but on some of these projects, we're actually ahead of schedule because we've been able to get more done on some of these sites with materials and everything like that during the pandemic. So I just wanted to give you that context. But in terms of the operations in the head office and some of the office work, absolutely people have been working at home or have been going to field visits safely and have had to do things differently during the pandemic. And so on that front, in the head office environment of TRCA and in some of our offices, including Boyd and RSC, there will be the hybrid, and the return on that is April 19th. But I'm gonna ask our CHRO and Michael and others involved, in particular Alex, if there's any specific details. But maybe we can start with Alex to explain what we're doing, if that's all right, through the chair. Alex has been leading a lot of this, so if he's on, maybe if you could give us an update.
Sure.
Sure, and thanks, John. Through the chair. So as John mentioned, we're going to have a phased approach to return to office. So our phase 1 is April 19th, as stated. So we're looking at 1 day a week, just to get staff, the office staff, used to coming back into the office. And then we're moving essentially a month later to phase 2, which would be June 26th. And that would be 2 days a week for staff at the office coming into the week, or coming in the office. And then phase 3 would be subsequently a month later on June 27th. And that's when our flexible work arrangements policy will kick in, which Natalie, I guess, could speak further to in a moment. Some of the other items we've kind of incorporated in the return to the office is we've actually procured a desk booking software for the office staff. So we're currently finalizing the back end of that, and training is going to be starting in the next week or so. So people will be able to actually book desks through their cell phones and their computers, and then we can track kind of vacancy rates and when people are coming into the office. Initially, we did have also health and safety protocols for like spacing, et cetera, in the office, but with the most recent provincial announcements, we've kind of amended a lot of those. So for instance, initially there was like 6 feet spacing between desks, but now we don't think that is required anymore. So we've kind of laxed a couple of health and safety measures. Some of the items that have remained though is obviously we'll have masks on hand for staff, et cetera, some of the bigger items. And I think generally that's kind of the plan going forward. And I can throw it over to, I guess, Michael or Natalie to speak more to any of the HR components.
Well, if I may, before, I just want to know whether we're going to continue virtual in our meetings. Are we thinking about it on a permanent basis or hybrid? And also, are we looking at more staff working from home in part or in full in the future post-pandemic? Just like to have an idea. I don't need the details, but just, I guess, a bit of a sense of directions.
So thank you through the chair. It is a very timely one. We are going to be having that discussion, and with obviously with the chair, the vice chair, with others on whether or not we can make this happen in terms of an in-person before the summer, summer hiatus, and whether or not that's achievable in terms of an actual board meeting or in-person board meeting. That's one of the discussion points we want to have. Right now it's working really well. We're having, and I think part of it is just in terms of attendance and everything. It's functioned quite well with the virtual board and subcommittee meetings. It's actually worked really well. So it's something that we want to have a little bit more discussion on, and but on the other matter related to the office and what's going to be continuing, we have a number, and I just want to emphasize, we have a lot of operational staff doing construction, field work. That has and will not change. They have to be on sites. They are doing construction. They are doing restoration work in the field. So really, the issue is really specific staff that are working in more of an office situation. And so on that front, while we are, and I think Alex explained the process of how we're phasing re-entry and coming back together. But I think that the key thing is we're also looking at, we have some new policies coming in place, recognizing what's going on in the larger environment. And one is our flexible work arrangements policy that has been worked on during this pandemic to be ready for this gradual return. And so on that front, Councillor Rosati, I think I'm going to ask Natalie and or Michael, the chair of the policy committee, to speak to some of the details on that. So Natalie, is that okay? I hand that over to you.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. And through the chair, so we have worked on a flexible work arrangements policy throughout the pandemic. We've ensured that we did an environmental scan to understand what our municipal partners are also doing with respect to flexible and remote work. We have developed a policy, and it will take effect, to Alex's point, during phase 3 of our return to office. And what it will consist of is both the ability to work remotely, as well as flex time. And the remote work will be up to 50% of the person's time within a month. And flexible hours are really going to be dependent between the director and supervisor. Again, we've taken a look at both elements to ensure that there's flexibility not only for our office staff, but also a little bit broader to John's point for field staff, those working in the parks, and try and create those opportunities for them.
Does anyone else have any further questions? Dr. Drake, go ahead. Can't hear you. Still can't hear you, Dr. Drake. Nope. Okay. Maybe just email us, and we're happy to connect with you afterwards. Any other members of the board that have any other questions? Okay. Thank you for that update. And are there any other items of new business? Being none, a mover to adjourn. Councillor Prusa, that's usually your job. You with that?
You know what? I'm happy to do. Where's Jack today?
He's not here.
He's not here. Well, then I'm happy to adjourn before he does log on. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Prusa.
Right.
Anthony, Jack often says that about you, ironically.
Never.
All those in favor?
Take care.
That carries. Have a wonderful week.